If you would have talked to me at 6:50 when we did our pregame live shot here on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and said, boy, this is going to be a 51-14 game, Ross Peterson, I would have said, you are taking some kind of really good wacky drug, and I would have invited myself to have some of that, because what we watched tonight, I had no idea was going to happen.
Dude, that was a butt kicking. I mean, absolute woodshed game. All three. Well, I mean, special teams didn't do anything crazy today. Early in the game, had a couple of field position moments that mattered. This was a methodical. We don't see this very often from Coach Ferentz teams, where they just don't take their foot off the gas and thump a team like this. So much fun.
Let's go down the stats here real quick. Iowa 24 first downs. Maryland was just 14. Iowa rushed the ball 42 times. Maryland just held to 17 rush attempts. There it is, 145 yards to the ground. They hold Maryland to below 100. Iowa 23 receptions, 283 receiving yards. The big thing here is, Maryland came into this game averaging over 500 yards of total offense per game, Ross. They hold them to 271. Iowa wasn't even averaging 300 yards of total offense. The Hawks run 80 plays, 428 yards of total offense.
Travis, I don't know what are the words for it. This was a breakout game for Spencer Petras. You can't find, very few things to pick apart in Spencer Petras' performance tonight. Goodson looks like an NFL back, like I said. You get Laporta, who continues to build what's going to be an NFL resume. This was fun, man. A lot of fun. And the defense, again, 6 interceptions? Come on.
Right here. You got 21 to 37, six picks. You got the 1 fumble lost. Here's a huge number. Look at that. 10 penalties, 82 yards for Maryland. That's just it was sloppy play by the Terrapins all around, not disciplined, when it comes to the penalty aspect of it, not disciplined on offense. And credit to the Iowa defense. They know where to be and how to force turnovers. But also look at this, Ross. 39 minutes of total possession for Iowa, 21 minutes for Maryland. I mean, you just can't. You throw in penalties, turnovers, and time of possession. There is just no way you can compete with that.
I see a number there that's going to be circled by Coach Ferentz.
Which one is that?
9 Iowa penalties.
63 yards. You're right.
9 Iowa penalties is something that Coach Ferentz is going to go into the locker room and say, "Hey guys, we kicked butt today. We played a nearly perfect game. We're going to work on this." Because that's the type of stuff you can't do down the road, and is really uncharacteristic for a Coach Ferentz team.
Well, maybe that's a good thing, though. And let me hear me out, because you're now getting ready to take on number 4 Penn State, right? And it gives you something that you've got to say, hey, you weren't perfect. You were not perfect in scoring 51 points. You weren't perfect in giving up 14. The problem here is that you obviously have some problems when it comes to the penalty aspect, where mental mistakes and mistakes like that aren't going to fly against a team like Penn State.
Yeah, and that's everything right now. Travis is looking forward. This Penn State matchup is enormous, and this is going to, I think, dominate our show tonight. We'll probably be on for only a couple of hours looking on it right now, maybe midnight to 2. That was great. It was a lot of fun, man. I think we'll spend a lot of time talking about what's going to happen in the Big Ten.
Patrick says, you know what? I'm not even sure I believed. I do now. What a game for Petras when nobody believed he could. He got no attention this week and was by far the best quarterback. You're absolutely – now, here we go. I'm going to start it. The Maryland defense was not very good even heading into this game, all right? I thought the offense might have been more productive than it was against the Iowa defense. The Maryland defense was not that great. But the great thing here is they did what they had to do. He was extremely, extremely effective when it comes to producing. And what happened is when Iowa was able to run the football at 145 yards on the ground, that was able to open up the play action and keep Maryland on its toes. It let them be able to get into a rhythm offensively. We have not really even seen them get into a rhythm like this against Iowa State.
Travis, you just nailed it there, man. That's it. That's the one thing we haven't talked enough about as we've been breaking down Spencer Petras, and the one thing that was there tonight, the running game, when it's dominant, is going to open up that passing game. Spencer Petras was not great at the beginning of this football game. Missed a couple of open receivers, underthrew a couple guys. then he goes crazy towards the end of this. Corey Lathrop, thank you so much, buddy. I miss you so much. Corey,
I got to say this. I know you got a cool shirt because yours is, punting is winning. You haven't even talked about my shirt yet.
What is your shirt?
Now, I want you to see if you can figure it out. I want you to look at mine. But look what's on the bombs.
I can't see what's on the bombs.
F's. Dropping F bombs.
Which Hawkeye is NIL on that?
No, nothing. It's supposed to be funny. Why can't you be funny? Why can't you be
I thought maybe one of the Hawkeyes had decided they were, who would it be? Which Hawkeye do you think would be the F bomb dropper?
Oh, I see a Laporta being an F drum bop.
Fisherman. Did you see the game? Laporta's out there slaying bass. That's a fine gentleman. Fishermen don't cuss.
Fishermen don't cuss, really? You just got back from Lake of the Woods or wherever you're at up there in Minnesota.
No cussing.
And something tells me you dropped an F-bomb or two on the lake. I'm just saying. Even with your son there. I bet your son dropped an F-bomb on the lake.
When we pulled in the 62-inch sturgeon on the video, he goes, "Holy!"
Ryan says, "Hey, I hope they just don't get big-headed going to Penn State now." I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying they're going to win next week, but I think everybody knows. I think if anything, you start dialing in for Penn State probably around halftime at this one, right? I mean, you start going, okay, there's bigger fish to fry. This thing's going to be taking care of itself. And they did a good job taking care of business. They didn't let them back in it, gave up that one score, whole team again below 25 points. I don't think this Iowa team's not going to look past somebody. That's you don't look past a top 4 team. You look past a Colorado State. You look past somebody else. You don't get big-headed going into a game like Penn State. You know what's on the line there.
I stole this line from my buddy, our friend, Derek Pagel, who was a Hawkeye and then played for the Jets. And then I heard Tyler Kluver say it on your show. So I know this is true. Coach Ferentz and his team of coaches, they've got a magical way about brainwashing these guys. Now, you don't have to do that against Penn State. My line that I used to Sean last Saturday was, Coach Ferentz has Riley Moss convinced he's going up against Randy Moss. This week, you get to actually play Penn State video and go, look, these dudes can play. I don't think you get big-headed out of this, but there is that thing that happens sometimes in sports. You put up 51 points today. Next Saturday, is it possible to put up 10? Yeah.
So look at that. Iowa wins next week. I wonder how crazy talk starts to get. Bring on Bama. I don't know if anybody wants Bama yet. Ryan then says, does Iowa jump Penn State in the ranking? It doesn't matter, does it? I mean, it doesn't matter. And I even looked. Does Penn State play tomorrow? And if so, who do they play? If not, we'll have that covered.
Yeah.
On Sound Off.
Penn State plays Indiana tomorrow.
Yeah. So in Indiana's not that good. I look for Penn State to win that one. It doesn't matter if Iowa jumps Penn State because here's what's going to happen. One's going to be 4, one's going to be 5. Unless Bama loses to Ole Miss over the weekend. Which, I know you're going to laugh, but it's not out of the question. All right.
Ole Miss is like what, 12?
Yeah, number 12, and they're going to score a lot of points, or they have scored a lot of points. So,
put it past them.
So here's what's coming up. We got the Jethro's Barbecue Sound Off coming up. I would say, in the next 40 minutes, right? I mean, if I were a guessing person, probably the next 40 minutes, I would say somewhere around 11:45, we're going to go on the air. We're going to be on the air till 2 a.m. 284-1040. 284-1040 is the number to call. So we want you to participate. We want you to have fun with this. It's WHO After Dark. You never know what happens on WHO After Dark, and on a Friday night heading into a Saturday morning. What are you thinking there, Ross? What do we got over there? Is Sean sleeping? Sean is already sleeping. It's funny because Sean thinks he works so hard. He's like, guys, I got to be here tomorrow morning to do the Saturday morning pregame show. That number 1 rated Saturday morning show that everybody listens to. I got to be here. I got to sleep all night here, and I don't get time to prepare for my show or anything like that.
Tried to tell him there's a couple spots to sleep here. I've done it.
Jethro's hat's 1-0. We're setting records with this hat.
Throw us that.
The Jethro hat is 1-0. Well, and that's what's happened. I mean, Sean is amazing. He takes credit for the success of Drake basketball, and now he's taking the success for the Iowa football team being 5-0. Yeah, I mean, That's the kind of guy that Sean is. He sacrifices himself. He lays money on him. He bet he lost on the under. He bet the under today, but he teased the line, got Iowa at -4.5, and he won a lot of money tonight. So he got him at 5.5. Those teasers are dangerous, but it paid off for him, and he emptied his bank account, and he got a lot of it back today. Attaboy.
Number 5 team looked like the number 5 team.
Yeah, and that at the end of the day, we have fun, and you're right. The number 5 team looked like the number 5 team, and it did a couple things today. It knocked another quarterback out of the game. I think that's 3 times out of 5 games they knocked the quarterback out of the game, and they emptied a stadium. They emptied a stadium at halftime. I mean, the blackout was over. Again, note to teams. Don't wear black against Iowa. Don't go all black. You're going to lose, and you're going to throw a lot of interceptions.
It's probably just best to start your backup quarterback. I mean,
well, that's the case. It's scientifically proven now that if you wear all black uniforms, you will lose to the Iowa Hawkeyes, and you'll throw no fewer than 4 interceptions. So he's Ross Peterson. Sean Roberts is going to be producing the show. 284-1040. They'll be coming up in just probably about an hour. Right here on News Radio 1040 WHO. We'll see you on the radio tonight for WHO After Dark and the Jethro's Barbecue Sound Off.